A warm summer breeze, flowers swaying in the wind, the low hum of rustling trees, white noise spilling into the ears like a melody. Soft, unassuming, familiar. A moment that feels like nostalgia even while it's happening. The mind works in a similar fashion, a sprawling archive, intricate yet unknowable, mapping out every color, every moment, every thread of existence in delicate, imperceptible precision. It's fascinating, really, the way it builds and catalogs, layering meaning over memory until they're woven inseparably. Every new input slips into place like it was always meant to be there, categorized and reshaped to fit the old mold, so the whole structure never tilts too far, never has to question itself. But what it excels at is also its greatest weakness, a double-edged sword, cutting without a seam, severing beauty at the stem without even realizing it. A strand of unfamiliar sensation, too raw, too unfiled, gets warped, bent to fit, or lost entirely. The mind smooths over it, edits it out. Memory doesn't like instructions. Sometimes I wonder if this warm summer day is just a veneer, a thin layer stretched over something I'm not supposed to see. I fear that there are holes in my memory. The idea behind forgetting is quite frightening. You don't lose memories all at once, you lose it in fragments. Thoughts you've had, sights you've seen, even pieces of yourself that stitched your sense of identity together. They slip through unnoticed until you're left with gaps in the narrative and no clue what was once there to begin with. When I philosophize about forgetting, I always return to something Oliver Sacks wrote in his absurdly titled work, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, that read, "If a man has lost a leg or an eye, he knows he has lost a leg or an eye. But if he has lost a self, himself, he cannot know it, because he is no longer there to know it." This line unsettles me, not just because of what it says or how it's phrased, but because of what it implies. Memory doesn't just shape how we see the world, it is the world, at least the only one we can ever know. And yet, it's unreliable. The mind is a storyteller and a trickster all at once, altering the narrative with sleight of hand, too subtle to notice. It cherry-picks, distorts, and embellishes meaning. The flaws are invisible to you unless someone else points it out. And even then, their perception has likely been warped in much the same way. The mind plays both sides, and neither of them trust the truth. A peaceful summer afternoon, bathed in gold and humming with a lazy drone of bees, should be remembered for its beauty. But all it takes is a sting of a wasp that's been hiding amongst the flowers, sharp and sudden, for the memory to shift, for the mind to rewrite the story. It's inviting to see the mind's objections about reality, since it doesn't care much for truth. It only cares about meaning, attempting to build upon ground that's been layered ever since the first memory has been formed. However, meaning is fragile. It shifts like sand stirred by the rising winds, by the approaching storm. Forgetfulness in its usual form is harmless, an absent-minded search for misplaced keys, a word on the tip of the tongue. It's a quiet buzzing at the edge of awareness. It's inevitable, really, a consequence of being human. We forget, we learn, we overwrite. New memories stack atop the old, forming mountains of thought, peaks and alleyways of recall. But at what point does forgetting become something more, something to be feared. When a name slips away, when a familiar face fades to unfamiliarity. What I fear most is not just forgetting, but knowing that something is missing. Feeling the weight of a void without remembering what once filled it. The fear of forgetting is not just about memory, it's about experience. The two are of the same nature. They are intertwined. As cognitive psychologist Elizabeth Loftus puts it, what people see and hear is colored by their expectations, their memory, and their beliefs. In this sense, perception is not a passive process of recording the world, but an active process of interpreting it. Our memories guide what we pay attention to, what we dismiss, and how we make meaning out of what we encounter. A tree is not just a tree, it is the memory of climbing one as a child. It's the rough bark beneath small hands, a scent of damp earth, the rustle of its leaves in the wind. Without these memories, it collapses into something meaningless, a blur of brown and green, hollow and devoid of meaning. Dreams work in a similar way. In the moment, they feel real, undeniably, viscerally real. The outside world ceases to exist, but when you wake, they slip away, dissolving before you can grasp them. If you dreamt longer than you were awake, which one of the two would be real to you? A person without their past is no more than a book with all of its pages torn out. Only something inwardly rogue could do something so cruel. We are incapable of separating memory from perception. To forget is to lose not just the past, but the self. Dementia. It's a word that sends shivers down my spine. It is the embodiment of forgetting, an unstoppable decay of memory, the rogue beast within a place you can't reach. There is no bargaining with it. No plea will return what it takes. First, the edges blur, then the faces, then the names. What was once vivid fades into something dull, and then to nothing at all. The past dissolves like ink in water. The world shrinks as more is forgotten, until what remains is confined to the peripheral. A flickering light barely holding on. And in the end, as the last breath is taken, even the fear of forgetting is forgotten. All I remember are the flowers.